you think about the struggle of the Chinese students for democracy, and how does it relate to Tibet?
Already start?
See,
Now, recent event in China, is very sad. And unfortunately, now the present the Chinese government, so now they follow very hard line, policy. So actually, this is almost like, I think, self-destruction, self-ruined. Very unfortunately. Naturally, you see, the policy of, overall as a matter, now since following more, hardliner attitude, so naturally, their attitude towards Tibetan also, be the same. So for the time being, things becoming more difficult. And actually, since last March, in Tibet, there's a similar situation there. Actually, the last 40 years, they're on the superficial, sometimes softer, more liberal,
more liberal attitude.
Yes, sometimes, but basically, you see, things always very strictly controlled.
Can you say something about the responsibility of people as individuals, and then the responsibility of groups of people as societies? How these differ, how they're the same?
I believe a society means combination or group of individual people. So all the activities or movement first started from individual initiatives. So at the same time, is one individual attitude sometimes may not so effective on the whole, but then with the initiative by individual, then joining more and more people, and that makes change. So that's nature law, isn't it? So I always consider the individual initiative is at most important, very important. And then as a Buddhist, I always believe, whether something positive thing, then whether achieve or not, it is worthwhile to make attempt, and with sincere motivation, and try best. If fail, no regret. Right from the beginning, remaining as a pessimistic attitude. That's very sad. That will be actually, the real way of, real path of failure. Oneself discouraged and hesitate to take initiative. That's again something like, self. What call self?
Self-defeat.
Yes, self-defeat. That's right. Self-defeat.
The other day you spoke about acting from the heart or with sincere motivation. What does this mean? For example, is this something that applies to everyone, from the peasant to the businessman in New York? Is this something that sort of applies universally? What does it mean? Can you say a little bit more about what it means to act from the heart or with good heart?
No, act.
Sincere motivation.
Yes, motivation is most important. And You see, usually I is telling people the sincere motivation, warm-hearted, how to say, motivation, warm-hearted motivation. You see, that's the key point. So otherwise, although you see we have such a, you see, how to say, sophisticated human brain, and also now you see modern ability, and with, you see, science and technology, we have such a, you see, awareness about, you see, environment, or about, you see, world, about, you see, many things. But then, if we lack of the sense of universal responsibility, then sometimes, you see, that ability or that knowledge lead us, you see, wrong direction. And ultimately, you see, self-destruction. And already, you see, many world problems, actually, you see, men created. Why? So we are not lacking knowledge or ability, but we are lacking proper motivation. So, and also I think, you see, we are lacking the awareness or long-term, what is the vision. So sometimes we people rushing or something which give you profit in short term, but that creates long-term negative consequences. So sometimes we neglect, you see, that, and simply, you see, concentrate on, you see, short-term gains. So that, I think, is a very pity. If our generation, you see, our generation's attitude remain like that, then the future generation will suffer. Future generation means our own, you see, children and children's children, not someone who come from other planet. So you see, our own children's, you see, future, naturally, their father or parent have, you see, full responsibility, isn't it? So that's why, you see, I always see telling the motivation is very, very important. Now, today, I think, generally speaking, we are not lacking education, we are not lacking money, we are not lacking resource, but we are lacking a good heart.
Is it possible that all of the world religions can come together around the issue of the earth, of conservation, of environment? Is this one way of coming together, of making common goal between the different religions?
Environment Number one, I see, you see, the peace, world peace is, I think, the common thing, or common, how to say, goal, or the point where, you see, various different religions, you see, come together. And then, of course, you see, the future of humanity. And on this point, I think every religion has come together. So already, I think, last is a few years, there's a much positive development within different and various different religions. Already, you see, make sort of, you see, common effort. That's a good sign. And of course, the environment issue. Yes, I think in certain extent, again, you see, many different religions, particularly Buddhism, is very much involved in this respect.
Do you have a message or some advice that you can give to the countries in Latin America that are involved in war today?
War, basically, anti-human nature.
Against you?
Against you see, human nature. And also, you see, war, through war, you may solve one problem, but very often creates another problem. And also even the achievement, or even something you achieved, through war. You see, that achievement also is not very reliable. And even you see, you gain something, comparison with the suffering, amount of suffering, you can't think. So this is, I believe, really, you see, the act of blind, mad. So nobody wants mad. So this is not good. I only pray so all these things eventually will disappear. And you see, everyone have responsibility to eliminate this kind of atrocity or war, these things. So I pray. Thank you.